Otranto. At a glance, it looks like any other gorgeous sun-kissed hill town on the Adriatic coast. Whitewashed walls, romantic medieval towers, all framed against the backdrop of a glittering sea. But dig a little deeper, and you'll discover that Otranto is a town raised from the ruins of unimaginable horrors. A town quite literally built on the bones of its long, dark past. Situated at Italy's most easterly point on the Salento Peninsula in the heart of the Mediterranean, the town has always been a uniquely positioned crossroads between the East and the West. Originally the site of an ancient Italic settlement before passing through various incarnations as a Roman port, a Byzantine provincial capital, and a Norman stronghold, Otranto was a place of vibrant cultural fusion in the ancient and medieval worlds. Today, it's mostly tourists and sea breezes. But beneath the Mediterranean charm and ancient stones, the traces of residual trauma still linger. Dark memories of invasion, devastation, martyrdom, written and overwritten in layers of blood. And nowhere is this more evident than at Duomo di Otranto. This 11th century Norman cathedral may be one of the most haunted churches in all of Italy. Not necessarily by ghosts, though I'd say there's a damn good possibility, but haunted by the historical echoes and dark memories it holds within its walls. Literally. If we're talking about palimpsest places, sites that have been built and rebuilt in multiple cultural fonts, that bear the material and immaterial traces of multiple historical moments, you literally couldn't find a better example than Duomo di Otranto. The cathedral is a living, tactile text on which the history of Otranto itself can be traced across centuries. The earliest known foundations of the cathedral were built atop a Messapian village, an ancient Italic tribe that inhabited southern Italy in the pre-Roman period. From the rubble of this ancient settlement, the Romans raised a grand domus, or possibly a temple, traces of which are still visible today. With the decline of the Roman Empire, Otranto fell under Byzantine influence, and the Grand Roman House/Temple was repurposed as an Eastern Orthodox church. From the 16th to 11th centuries, the town itself was recognized as an important provincial capital in the Byzantine territories of southern Italy. When the region fell to the Normans in the 11th century, Otranto underwent a dramatic cultural shift toward a more Latinized form of Christianity. Yet vestiges of Byzantine influence still remained. This cultural fusion is inscribed on the very fabric of the cathedral. The structure we see today can be traced back to the 1080s. Built in the Romanesque style according to a cruciform layout, the building is decidedly Latin Christian in form, though its arabesque flourishes speak of its Byzantine past. A palimpsest of stone, each layer visible, none entirely erased. One of the most famous features of the cathedral is the Tree of Life mosaic, a masterpiece of medieval tile work that sprawls across the church floor like a fever dream. Dating back to the 12th century, the mosaic's 600,000 tiles were laid by a single monk, Pantaleone, whose name is still visible at the base of the tree. The colossal Tree of Life runs the full length of the nave, extending up into the presbytery and outward into the transepts. The branches are stitched together with images of Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, King Arthur, animals, both real and imaginary, fantastical creatures drawn from medieval bestiaries, monsters, prophets, angels, demons. It has been described as an encyclopedia of the medieval imagination, a visual text on which pagan myth, biblical scripture, and contemporary folklore coexist in chaotic, beautiful fusion. The Tree of Life mosaic is famous, but step into the side chapel and you'll find the cathedral's most chilling feature, a reliquary containing the skulls and bones of 813 Christian martyrs. As you can imagine, the story behind this haunting reliquary is grim. So let's go back to the 15th century. In 1453, the Ottomans seized Constantinople, putting an end to centuries of Eastern Roman Christian rule in that celebrated medieval metropolis. In 1480, Sultan Mehmed II sent an Ottoman fleet to invade Rome under the command of Gedek Ahmad Pasha. On July 28, 1480, the Ottoman fleet passed through the Strait of Otranto and laid siege to the town. The people fought valiantly to repel the invaders, but after 2 weeks, the town fell. Once the walls were breached, Otranto's terrified citizens took refuge in the cathedral, but the invaders soon forced their way inside. They beheaded the resident archbishop right before the altar, then turned on the townspeople. The women and older children were enslaved, while the younger children, the elderly, and all males over 15 were slaughtered. Some 800 able-bodied, i.e. useful, men were set aside and told they would be spared if they converted to Islam. They refused. These 813 men would become known as the Martyrs of Otranto. After repeatedly refusing to renounce their faith, the men were taken to nearby Minerva's Hill, later renamed Martyrs Hill, where they were systematically beheaded. The Siege of Otranto was a horrific episode of breathtaking brutality. Of the city's 22,000 inhabitants, it's estimated that only 10,000 survived. If something that appalling doesn't darken the energy and atmosphere of a place, I don't know what would. This devastating population drop crippled civic and commercial life, initiating a period of decline from which the town would never recover. Today, the population of Otranto barely totals 7,000 people. 7,000 from a medieval high of 22,000. After sacking the town, the victorious Ottomans converted the cathedral to a mosque. But their hold over Otranto would be short-lived. The very next year, the Italians took the town back, and the cathedral was restored as a place of Christian worship. And they wasted no time in honoring their dead. In October of 1481, the bodies of the 813 martyrs were disinterred and transferred to Otranto Cathedral, where a reliquary was built in their honor. Today, you can still see the remains of those 813 men in the Chapel of Martyrs, quite literally incorporated into the walls of the very church they died defending. It's a reliquary, yes, but also a warning. The bones aren't tucked away in a crypt or buried beneath the ground. They're visible and watchful, witnesses to the darkness through which the city and its cathedral have passed, like a mass grave that dares you to remember. So if you want to feel the historical and emotional weight of a proper palimpsest place, Otranto might have to get bumped up on your bucket list. If you do go, the cathedral is a must visit, because in this ancient, storied place, the past is not buried. It's visible in the structure itself, in the mosaics beneath your feet, staring back at you from the walls of bones.